Shut up and sit down.
Hey, and welcome to the Freja MMA podcast, where it doesn't matter if you're a casual fan or a championship fighter. Join us in our discussion about the beautiful sport, which is mixed martial arts. Hey guys, and welcome to the Freja MMA podcast. Today's guest I've been trying to get for a while. I've been a fan of his work for quite a long time, both in the cage and on the cage, if that makes sense to anyone. Daniel Schälander, or better known as Photography Viking, is well known for his photos and videography, but did everyone know that he used to compete in MMA as well? We talk about what it takes to be a good MMA photographer, the kind of styles that he creates, and what it's like to be on the so close to the action, almost the third man in the octagon, well, fourth if you count the referee, I guess, and how to get those crisp shots that everyone sees going around media at the moment. We also talk about his time with MMA Viking and Kimura.se, or .se, sorry, went a bit Swedish there. Everyone's kind of heard my secret now. I can speak a bit of Swedish. But check out the interview. He's a great guy, and don't forget to give him a follow. But first, don't forget to like and subscribe on this video. So, everyone, the moment you've all been waiting for, the interview with Daniel Schälander. Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Hey, all good. How are you?
Doing well in this cold Swedish winter, but you know, what can you do? I chose this life.
Yeah. I didn't have a choice. I was stuck here from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So just if you want to give a quick introduction to the people that you like may not know you and how you have got to where you are today.
Yeah, it's a long, complicated story, but I'm basically very involved in the MMA scene in a lot of different ways. It started over 10 years ago. In 2009, I started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for one semester, and then I started doing MMA and Thai boxing and everything all at once. I got into that world, and some small time after, I started making some MMA videos, like highlight videos that were picked up, and that got me into working in MMA media. So I started working with MMA Viking for, this is going to be my 10th year
Oh wow.
with them. Yeah, so a decade on the MMA scene.
I'm trying to work out the maths because you're still looking pretty young, man.
Yeah, so I'm 27 now. Turned 27 a couple of months ago. So I started very, very young. And then we started, like in the beginning, I was only editing video, making YouTube videos and stuff. And then we started shooting more stuff like in the real world, making our own content. So I started using like DSLR camera.
Yeah.
So started doing video with that and edited that. And then after a while, I figured I have a camera, I might as well learn to use it as a camera too. So then I started taking photos. And that was maybe around 2014, sometime around then is when they started getting good. Like before that, I had like 1 or 2 or 3 years of bad photos, but that's when it started clicking. And those are the images. I can say that, okay, I'm sort of proud of how they look. Like they look up to some sort of standard. So then I've been doing the photography and MMA media thing simultaneously as I've competed and trained a lot. So I fought amateur MMA. Well, first I started doing a lot of grappling. So I won the junior nationals in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2011, and then I turned 18 in 2012, and then I started competing in MMA. And from early on, my goal was to win win the championships. So back then it was what is now MMA Class B was called shoot fighting. So it's basically MMA rules, shorter rounds and no strikes on the ground.
Mm.
So I started with that. I did 10 fights in that and won them all and won the Swedish national championships. And then I went over to amateur MMA, or the IMAF rules, which are strikes on the ground. The first fight I did was knees to the head also.
Oh wow.
It was a mix. It was a small period there for a while when it was amateur MMA in Sweden. It was 2 5-minute rounds, and you could knee to the head. Now they made it.
Is that with
Changed it.
some sort of padding, or was that like bare knee?
Bare knee. So you
Okay.
had the shin guard, like small shin guards, and the MMA amateur MMA gloves. So they're a bit thicker than the pro gloves, but
Mm-hmm.
not that much of a big difference. So I did that fight. Did not get to knee anyone in the head or even punch on the ground. I took him down and choked him out in the first round. And then I started competing. Yeah, then I did some more fights. Got into the national team after I won the first nationals there, and then I started competing in the IMAF tournaments basically,
Mm-hmm.
and they have no knees and 3 times 3 minutes rounds, so the setup was a bit different, but basically the same rules. And then I did that for, let's see, I think I was in my first international championship was Worlds in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I came to the quarterfinals and lost against the silver medalist. And then I did the Europeans in Prague, and then I won that. And then they mixed up the schedule because before they had done the Worlds in the summer, and then they did the Worlds in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the normal schedule that they've done for the previous years. But the year after that, in 2017, they put the Europeans early in the spring. And since I've just won the Europeans in like November, and then did the national championship again, I didn't feel like doing the Europeans again that in that short of amount of
Yeah,
time
that's
afterwards.
understandable.
Yeah, so I skipped that one, and then I did the Worlds in Bahrain in 2017, and that didn't go very well. And that was the last time I fought MMA. And then I had some injuries with my neck, and that has kept me on the sidelines since then.
Uh-huh.
But I had 25 fights all in all, and won 21 of them. So an okay record.
You say that you kind of finished it from an injury. I guess for people that may have gone through that, and for people that may be kind of scared of that kind of thing, what was that mindset like?
Um, I mean, it was a bit tough mentally. It wasn't so much physically. It was a neck injury. I have an issue with my disc,
Mm-hmm.
and that basically when I train hard, like for in camp, I it just hurts a lot. I can't sleep because of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay when I don't train on that level, then it's manageable. But it just became too much. And then I'm lucky and happy that I had photography and kind of that stuff to shift into, because I still had something to do with my life and my time, and somewhere to put all my ambitions in.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, like, if their career is finished, maybe they don't have anything else. There are some people that have had injuries many years ago and are still like trying to fight even though they should not be fighting anymore, or
Yeah.
they've been just out of the game and should stay out of the game. So I'm lucky I could like transition into something, yeah, just to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But while I was competing, I was still just taking photos. I was going to like I've been to pretty much every Swedish MMA event for the last 10 years almost, and to UFC events and other events around the world too. So I always kept that up, and I think I'm the only guy in Sweden that took photos and fought at the same event.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so they had the nationals in Umeå, and the finals were the same day as Battle of Botnia, and they selected two of the finals to be on the prelim card for the Battle of Botnia event. So they picked my fight and some other fight. So I fought like the first or second fight of the evening. Then I went and got my camera bag, and then I took photos of the rest of the
Oh
fights.
wow. That must have been crazy. I mean, I hope you came off unscathed after that then.
Sort of. Actually, I think I had a weird injury in that fight. So this was in December of 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and the Europeans had been in late, like last weekend of November.
Mm-hmm.
So I just fought 4 fights, been on a diet for like 2 months, stayed low on the weight for the nationals. So I didn't have to cut again. So I'd just been dieting for like 3-4 months in total. I fight. After the fight, take out my mouthpiece, and I feel like my wisdom tooth in the back, it like sticks up a bit.
Uh-huh, okay.
So all of the teeth are in one line, and then the wisdom tooth stick up. So when I bite, I can only bite on my wisdom tooth. So it was
Mm-hmm.
swollen or some shit, and it hurt like hell. I didn't notice until after the fight, so I couldn't chew for like 6 more weeks after that fight. So I'd been dieting for 4 months, been waiting for this evening to be over so I could just eat stuff again,
Mm.
and then I can't chew for 6 more weeks.
Oh damn, it's just straight to soup kind of thing.
Yeah, only soup. I put chocolate on my tongue and like let it melt, and then
But it's good that you didn't have such an injury to the point of like, let's say you were concussed or something, and then you go
oh
back the day after and look at your photos from the event and think
yeah.
like, this is not up to my standard kind of thing.
That would have been bad. That would have been bad. Luckily, I never had any big injury like that. Never got knocked out or anything like that. So that
Mm.
was never an option for me.
But that's good to hear. I mean, brain injuries and that kind of stuff is quite a scary scene. But before we go into the photography talk of this, that a lot of people are probably watching this for, I just want to stick on the MMA side for a second and ask about your fight name. I mean, Spider Pig is quite an unusual one. Did you come up with it yourself? I know it's a big thing from The Simpsons and things, but when did that actually start?
It started when I got my first PlayStation 3 in like 2008, maybe sometime around that. So I needed a nickname for my PlayStation Network account. So I think this was around the time that the Simpsons movie had come out, and the Batman movie, the first Batman movie with Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
So my gamer tag was Spider Pig Begins, and then that just stuck. I kept it for when I started doing the YouTube videos,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that it stuck. Some of the YouTube videos got pretty big. I think one of them's got like 1.6 million views or something like that right now. So the name kind of stuck.
Okay.
So it's been with me ever since, and then get shortened to just Spider Pig.
Because I know the viewers always like the stories from exactly where the nicknames came from. So no, it's good that everyone knows now. But speaking about photography, then from what you're saying, it sounds like you started pretty late. When I think of like the work that you produce, I mean, in my opinion, you are the best combat sports Swedish photographer that I've seen anyway. What would you say is it was your path to get so good in what I would think it would be such a short amount of time?
Um, Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
It's I don't really know. Some things, or maybe asking most things, you need a certain amount of talent. Like it was the same for me when fighting. I won my first competition ever in jiu-jitsu after like 3 months of training. It wasn't a great performance, but I still won, and I've never won anything before. I played soccer for 10 years, and I sucked. Well, I didn't suck, but I was average at best, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I won that first competition, and then I felt like, okay, this comes natural to me, and I'm gonna go all in on this. So with both a bit of talent and then just hard work, it became I could reach a pretty good level. And I think it's a little bit of the same with the photography. I've always had sort of an eye for just aesthetical, just an eye for images and video and stuff like that. And that's how I got into that editing. Some of the videos I made back then, even though I made them when I was like 16, and I just started, I can still look back on them today and like feel that they're they have uh, they have their strengths and they're good in a certain way. And it wasn't something I trained in. It was just something that I could feel like this is what should be in the video. This is how I should structure it. This is how I will time it with the music. And it's a bit of the same with the photography. You get a feel for the composition, uh, and as long as you have sort of an eye for what's a good photo,
Mm-hmm.
then you just have to keep at it and just go after it and learn your equipment. Take a lot of photos. It probably helped for me that I was so ingrained in the MMA world that I can read maybe the timing of the fights. I
Mm-hmm.
can know what happens, maybe predict certain moves, predict certain scenarios if someone wins. Um, so I think it's just a matter of, a small bit of talent, and then I've been doing it a lot and just learned my equipment a lot.
Mm.
And I've always been kind of a nerdy guy in a sense that when I find something I'm passionate about, I go pretty deep on it. Same with video games and fighting.
Mm.
So and the same with photography. So I just put on a lot of time and then a little bit of talent on top of that. Um, that's basically it, I think.
Yeah, I think you answered a lot of questions there because I was gonna ask like, would being a fighter help you in these scenarios to know when to click that shutter exactly? So I think you said it right there with kind of the knowledge and the background of the sport as a fighter. You're able to see like exactly when those shots will come out. And it's quite interesting you say about the whole thing of having the like artistic eye kind of thing. I mean, me myself, from when I was growing up, I would like to think that I have more of an artistic ear because I'm quite into music. I studied music from when I was in school and everything. But my wife is more the has the artistic eye, like you're saying. So she does a lot of that kind of stuff, and I hate to say it, but she's a better photographer than me as well. Um, but it, when would you say is the first time you kind of saw that artistic eye kind of thing that you was talking about?
um, I remember when I was really young, maybe around five-ish, 5 to 10 at most. I just always liked to, or it was always something I enjoyed when we were on vacations. I remember a specific time when we were in up north on like a skiing trip and with my family, and I just always like to get out the camera or the video camera and just do stuff with it and try it out. So I think it's always something that has been an interest of mine. And then I really didn't do anything with it because I did sports and all the other stuff for my whole youth, and then I kind of reconnected with it when I started with the video editing. Um, but so in a sense, it was back then I knew I liked to do this kind of stuff. I liked to have a camera, I liked to be creative with it. And then when I started doing the MMA highlights, I think that's when I really just noticed that, because the thing is, that was around the same time when I got interested in MMA.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go on YouTube a lot and look up fighters. I'd start watch all the Pride events, all the old UFC events, and then I'd look for like highlight videos of my favorite fighters, and I'd go to them, and they'd be just trashed, like bad videos, bad music, bad, no timing, no feelings, or nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, I can do better than this. So I did. So I just started doing them, and they were better. They were better. So that's kind of when I knew that I have I have a feel for it. Sort
Mm.
of. That's when it became clear. Yeah, and then I just kept at it. I enjoyed it a lot. Now I haven't done video a lot in recent years I've shifted more over to photography, but it's still in the same universe, you know.
Yeah, you still have it in the book in case someone needs you for your talent kind of thing.
Yeah. I did a video. Yeah, I do some videos still to this day. I got the equipment for it, but for me, I like photos more in this day and age because they're more instant. You know, if you scroll in your Instagram feed, if you see a video that's longer than 8 seconds, you know, you just scroll past. But
Yeah.
an image is like you just absorb it, then you can swipe on, or you like it, or whatever. But it's much easier to get people to at least look at your stuff, because and video is hard, you know. It takes a lot more time to put out a good video of any kind. uh, just the whole process is longer. You have to plan more. Photos are pretty easy in that sense, that it's just a snapshot, one moment, that's all you need. For video, or you need equipment for audio, you need good equipment for video, you need a lot of time, you need a lot of sequences to make something pretty good. And it's just hard to get people to commit to watch something that you put a lot of hours in.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big reason to why I went more for photography in the end.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, you're on a more than 1 minute podcast kind of thing, so I completely understand you there. But also, let's say that someone is an inspiring, we'll say sports photographer, but we'll kind of keep it in the realm of like MMA. So they go to an event and they want to come back with, let's say, there's 10 fights and they want to get one photo of every fight. I think the untrained person will come out thinking that they're already going to take 10 photos, but like you're putting so much work in it, and I've seen you at events and you're always on point. But secrets are there, and how many photos are you like throwing away to find that best one that you kind of like?
Oh, so for an event, I probably take a couple of thousands of photos. So maybe 3 or 4 thousand, between 2 and 4, depending on how many fights, how long the fights are, how good the fights are. But yeah, at least a couple of hundred per fight, at least minimum like 500. If it's a full fight, probably more. And then you get maybe, yeah, a small percentage of those are good photos, like solid photos, and then an even smaller percentage of those are excellent photos.
Yeah, the ones that you want in your frame kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and I have very few of those. Like even still, I think that's also a strength of mine, is that I'm very critical of like my own stuff. It takes a lot for me to be impressed by a photo, my own photos included. So there are levels. Like you can have a good photo, but to get to that excellent photo level is rare. But being this picky in a sense is good, because then you sort out all the crap in your own photos. So you become way more selective, and you keep pushing yourself to get better photos because you're not satisfied with what you produce. And I think that's probably what it takes in a lot of different endeavors. In whatever you do, it's the same in fighting. Like you can't go into a fight. I never did that. I never went into a fight knowing that I had big holes in my game, or knowing that I knew that whatever happens, I have an answer. I have something to go to here. I'll never be clueless in there. So I put a pretty high standard on myself in the fighting too.
And I guess you never walk away and look back and think, I had a flawless performance kind of thing.
No, not really. It's hard. Yeah, that's rare when you have perfect performances. You can have good performances, but it's never. There's always something. But part of it, like you need this mentality to be able to come in prepared, because MMA is not a sport you want to come into unprepared. You know, you wanna you wanna be there fully at 100% and ready to give it your all.
And doing some research on you, I'm not sure if it still falls true, but from what I've read, you were the youngest MMA photographer to work for the UFC at the time of this article that was written. What was that experience like working for the biggest promotion in the MMA world?
Yeah, so I didn't work for them specifically, but
Mhm.
I'm probably the youngest accredited
Oh,
photographer.
yeah. Correct it.
So yeah, so it was with MMA Viking. The first show I did at the UFC, I think I was 18. I'm not sure they allow people younger than that. And it was in Nottingham when Akira Kurasani made his UFC debut.
Mhm.
I think it was probably, yeah, it must have been 20 early, maybe 2012 or 2013. Let's Google real quick. I'm gonna Google.
No problem.
Um,
You want to make sure that you was actually 18 as well. You didn't have a fake ID
yeah,
with you, kind of thing.
no, I was in Nottingham, so they're pretty strict there in the UK border. Uh, let's see. And it was the same event that Gunnar Nelson made his UFC debut in.
Oh wow.
Let's see here. It was 2012, September 2012.
Hmm.
So he debuted against Andy Ogle. So Akira had just been in the Tough House. He did pretty well, and he's a bit of a character, so they wanted to keep him around, and he's a good fighter.
Hmm.
So he fought Andy Ogle, beat him by decision, I believe. Showed very good wrestling, and then Gunnar Nelson did his debut, I think, against Marcus Johnson. Let's double check that too. But I think it was against Marcus Johnson, and he won by rear naked choke. I think he won a lot of the early shows by, yeah, rear naked choke.
It's kind of strange looking back at old, or not old, but the older events and seeing all the people that are such household names that are now, and they're all in the prelims at that time. Is
Yeah, it's a trip. Just looking at that event, I think Stipe Miocic headlined against Stefan Struve.
Mhm.
Nobody knew who Stipe was back then. Stefan was the big poster boy. Dan Hardy fought. Um, Brad Pickett fought, and Jim Emanuel. I think he was new in the UFC,
Oh wow.
and he fought Kyle Kingsbury, and it was one of the most brutal fights ever. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it, because I've never seen someone take that much punishment and just
Mm.
not get knocked out. It would have been better for him to get knocked out early, because Jimmy, he kicked him straight in the face, knees, everything. It was brutal. I think he just quit after the second round. He didn't come out for the third, Kyle Kingsbury. So that was like first time I uh, saw him in the cage, and it was just, yeah, it was crazy.
Uh,
And so and Jimmy, and that was just a start for Jimmy,
mm.
and now everybody knows what kind of power he has.
So going into these events as well, do you sometimes kind of lose yourself in the fan of MMA, or do you stay like business minded, and then when you kind of come out of these events that you have been accredited to, do you then have to watch them back to see what actually happened? Because I know that looking through your eyes and looking through a lens is not really the same kind of thing.
I rarely rewatch events,
Mm-hmm.
so of course it's a different kind of emotion you have, because your focus is a bit different when you're there taking photos, because yeah, you're doing all the stuff in your head, making sure you're all set to capture that specific moment. So you're not enjoying it as a fan in the same way. You're very much just almost analyzing, just waiting for the moment. So you're not in there as much, but you're still like cognizant of maybe the score. You can sort of keep the score in your head. Of course, when Swedes fight, it's always extra nervous,
Mm-hmm.
because you're nervous for them. You really want them to win, and so yeah, it's a little bit of both. But in the end, you're there focused to take the best photos, and then say a Swede loses, just you get sad, but you're still in there waiting for the shot. Um, but it's a bit of a different event, different thing. Rarely, I think live. I think I've seen one event live as a fan, and then all the other ones I've been there as a media, yeah, in a media capacity. Not always taking photos, since I didn't start doing that consistently until after a few years. But the first, the first MMA show I saw live was Superior Challenge 5 when Reza Madari fought Junie Browning, and I think that was probably no, he did a few more fights in Sweden before he got signed to the UFC. But yeah, that was the first time, and then after that, I was sort of hooked, and then I got into MMA media, and then I've been at the events as media ever since.
Yeah, like I didn't mean to forget, but you're also a editor and journalist for MMA Viking too. I guess you have a lot of names under the cap there.
Yeah. And since October last year, I'm also the editor in chief for Kimura.se. So I'm still, going in on my 10th year with Viking, taking photos for both now. But yeah, so there's a lot of roles. I think the only thing I haven't done in the MMA scene is being the judge. I think that's the thing that's left. I've been coaching a little bit as well, so
You're still young, so you never know. It
yeah,
could be in there.
a few more years.
So seeing yourself and the way that you're going now. By the way, do you have like is it like a production company, or are you just like freelance by yourself?
Yeah, it's sort of freelance. I take a lot of different work, a lot of work that's not related to MMA at all. But when I take these MMA photos, a lot of people see them, and then they know that, oh yeah, that's the photographer guy. I need a photographer to take photos of this thing that I have going on, and then they can get in touch. So I have my own company, and yeah, do freelance work a lot, and then obviously now the work I do with Kimura and MMA Viking is also part of that in a sense.
So where do you see this taking you? I mean, what's your legacy or goal that you're working towards? Where do you see yourself in the future?
I'm not really sure if I have any specific end goal. Of course, it would be nice to be able to do all of this full time and just focus on MMA. That would be a dream for sure. But just when it comes to the photography, I just want to take the good photos. That's my end goal, and it's a never-ending goal. There's always going to be more opportunities, and I'm still hungry for it. Every event I go to, I still want to take the best photos. I still want to get those magical shots, and they're really hard to get, as we've talked about. So, still have a long way to go there. But yeah, working for the UFC would be amazing, of course. Working for big promotions would be a cool thing. But I'm very happy with where I'm at right now, that I have the ability to write a lot of MMA stuff now with Kimura and take photos for them and for MMA Viking. So it's just a very good, blessed position to be in, to be able to be this involved and do what I want to do and what I enjoy to do. Again, in the end, I think we're all just fans, that are in this business. So it's really cool to have gone from that kid who saw Superior Challenge 5 to be able to like spar with Reza and be his training partner, see him take photos of him in out in Europe and other shows out there in the world, being able to take photos of Alexander Gustafsson. Just all that stuff is so amazing, to be able to be a part of that as just a fan. It's really crazy when you think about it. Sometimes I kind of forget because I've been at it for so long, but yeah, in the end, I'm just a fan, and it's just so great to be able to be this involved in the sport I love.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone will get into this sport not enjoying it and not being a fan as well. So, oh, and by the way, Dana, if you're watching, I'll have all of his Instagram details and everything in the description wherever you're watching it. So what would you say, like, if I'm scrolling through 10 photos, what should I look for that I know that it's a Daniel Schälander like signature kind of thing? What's your style that I'll be able to point your photo out in a bunch of 10?
I think a lot of them, what they have in common is that they're capturing some sort of specific moment. They're very, like, they're capturing some type of emotion or some very, yeah, specific moment in a fight. Um, that, that punch landing with the blood splatter and like sweat flying.
Yeah, everyone
Those
loves
kind
a
of,
loves a sweat spray photo.
yeah, they're and blood sprays photos are even better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's it. Just capturing the small moments in this like chaotic environment that is an MMA fight. Just those specific beautiful moments. Um, and just yeah, I think and I thing the thing a lot of people do that I've noticed is that sometimes they let the guard down. So when they're taking photos, for example, they could be getting a good shot and then they look down on their camera and then they miss like the next amazing thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm always good at keeping focus, keeping my eye on the prize, just being sure I'm in there for the whole thing and not missing a single moment because they're rare, and you need to be on your toes to catch them.
Yeah, trust me, I've tried. I've been at a few events at the same time as you, and I see that you're always in there the first, and like getting your hands, not minding getting your hands dirty and getting in there, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I like it, and I like just being in there. Yeah, as you say, in there in the moment, uh, getting close to the action, and just capturing it while it's going on. Because the moments are very fleeting. It's only a split second, and then you lost your chance. So you have to be on your toes.
But so I guess that will be the first of this, and I'll ask you for the other five. Is one of the things I kind of thought of. Could you give 5 tips to any aspiring sports photographers or MMA photographers?
I think yeah, one of them is that just keep focus, keep like mental focus. Just be there. Don't let your guard down. Don't relax before it's over because you're gonna miss something. You see that on UFC events too. Like you can watch the photographers in the background. They got some good shot, and then they're looking at the camera instead of the next crazy KO that comes seconds
Mm-hmm.
later. Um, Another thing is just getting to know your gear. That's important, just so you know the limitations that you have. You don't need to have the best gear in the world to take good photos, but you need ideally to be able to take as good photos as your equipment allows. If you
Mm-hmm.
can max out the level of the equipment, then it's time to start looking at upgrading your stuff. But make sure you get the full value out of your gear. Um, Other than that, just take a lot of photos. It's also important. Just keep at it. Um, be in there. Go to amateur events. Take photos there. Uh, Maybe if you have friends that fight, go see if you can help them take photos. But just in general, in most things, if you want to be good at something, you have to do it a lot. If you want to be a good photographer, take photos. Just don't just talk about taking photos. Take
Mm.
photos. If you want to be a good fighter, you have to fight. You have to train a lot. You have to be in there. So that's important. Just get the hours on the mat
Mm.
when it comes to the photography.
Yeah, those are the most important things, definitely.
Yeah, and those are important things. Like that's the same if you want to be successful in anything. You have to put the time and effort in, and like do it because you love it. It's really hard to do something if you're not passionate about it,
Mm.
or it's really hard to be good at something because if you're not passionate about it, you're going to be outcompeted by someone who is. So find the thing that you're good at, that you have a passion for, and then go all in on that. Because that it's easy work. It's not work like when you enjoy what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And like you're saying, we're both fans of this, so we're enjoying it as much as the fans are, kind of thing.
Hmm Not sure if I have more tips off the cuff right now. I might come back to it if I if something else pops up in my mind.
Yeah, but those three, like you're saying, those three are some great ones. I'll go a bit off script with the next few questions then, and you can answer this or not. But what would you say is like the amount of money that you've put into this passion? I mean, me as I'm trying to inspire to be like the podcast and the videographer and the photographer guy as well. It's like you think of it and it just seems like an endless stream of money getting put into this kind of stuff. So like I guess you kind of know about that as well.
Yeah. Mm,
Or you could
it
just
is.
answer with a lot if you do.
Yeah, I'm trying to do some quick maths in my head.
Okay.
Sure, it's easily upwards of 100,000, Swedish crowns. Um, Between 5,000 and 50,000 and 100,000 easily. Um, Fortunately, I've been able to make it back through the work I do. Um, but that's just also something that I'm lucky to have. Most people that have this hobby don't make a single cent.
Yeah.
So I'm just very lucky to be able to like earn money, reinvest the money in better stuff, and just keep leveling up that way. But that's not a necessity, to because I put a lot of time into it. If I put the same amount of hours into my day job or any other normal job, I may have a lot more money and I could just buy the same stuff. Um, but yeah, a lot of like the equipment is expensive. You need a good computer, you need good cameras. They get outdated. You need new lenses. You need accessories to all that stuff. So yeah, it just adds up.
Yeah, because everyone kind of comes to me and is like, oh, you have a podcast. How much money are you making off of it? I'm like, honestly, zero. Like, we're so organic and we're just trying to get we're fans of MMA, so we want to push all of the things surrounding it. So, like, but hey, if anyone wants to hit us up and give us some money, some sponsors, anything, do it. But it's like I know that I got to put in the work hours like you have done, kind of thing. I'm guessing when you first started, it wasn't like you was getting paid the kind of money that you're doing now. It's craft, it's you've kind of gone through the gears and got to your stage now.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the same in fighting also. Like you have to do it for a long time. First, I never got a single paid for anything in fighting. Best I got was some sponsors for my gear. Uh, that's it basically. But you do it because you love it, and then in the end you'll get rewarded. When you reach a certain level. But you'll only reach that level if you do it because you love it. So yeah, it takes a while. Takes a while to reach that level in anything.
Yeah, so never give up, right?
No, you just keep at it and do it because you love it, and then the rest will come.
All right, I'm also gonna give this moment for you to look in the camera and tell the people how important it is that they, sorry, tag you in the photos that you have taken on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of photographers and they say that's the number one kind of irritation that happens a lot.
Yeah, that's always going to be a thing. It's easy to just screenshot a photo or save a photo and then use it. So just to show up respect, just make sure to give some credit to the person who put the work in to get the photo. But yeah, that's way too common. But I feel it's getting a little bit better. But that's always going to be the case. But it's important if you get to use a nice photo just for your own personal use, at least tag the guy, give him something back.
Exactly, give them some love, spread the love. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
So before I kind of just wrap up this interview, I just want to kind of say that people can find you at MMA Viking and Kimura, like you were saying now, and all of the Instagram stuff. Both your photography and I guess your personal can be put into the description. So check those out. And trust me, as I said, you have excellent work as a photographer. I've seen a lot of your work, and it's one of the aspirations for me to go to. You one of the inspirations, sorry. Um, so going into this is a time of the show where the guest gives thanks to any inspiring people, any friends, family, companies, like you're saying, MMA Viking and Kimura a lot. It's your time to say thanks to any of those and give them a shout out, or sponsors as well.
Yeah, I think what got me into this in the beginning was Ryan at MMA Viking. He's probably one of the biggest supporters I've had throughout the years. Always helped me just make myself better. So I'm really thankful for that. Just having him have my back and just, yeah, being with me for 10 years almost now, just helping me grow in every facet of my life and my photography and my writing and everything. So I owe a lot of him. I owe a lot to him because yeah. So MMA Viking, if you want to see some great news from the Nordic scene, MMA scene, there's a lot going on now. A lot of talent coming up in all the countries and have been for a decade. So yeah, if I have to shout out one guy, it's Ryan.
Anyone else? Any friends or family or anything?
All the people that have supported me throughout the years, my coaches, my training partners, all the people in the MMA scene. It's just I've met so many amazing people in this business and in training. So very thankful for everyone that's been a part of my journey so far, and a lot of beautiful people I'd never gotten to meet if I didn't get into this crazy sport.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same, and they all treat everyone like family. It's like the MMA family is all together kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. I know you have a very busy schedule. As I said, everyone, you could check him out, and all the links will be in the description for his Instagram. Don't forget to give him a follow and everything. And yep, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.